let the So here we are with our pro webinar on constructing excellence, empowering your residential construction teams with AI. And Justin, I am thankful. I have seen this presentation. Justin and I previewed it together and really excited for him to share. We had a similar presentation or a panel at Pro Day, and that was just kind of a taste of what's coming with AI. In this presentation, Justin will give you some very tangible ways to utilize AI in your construction and remodeling companies. So Justin, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself and your company and then get started.
Angela, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and great to meet you all. My name is Justin Landry. I'm the owner operator of JL Freelance, which is an HR consulting, coaching, and AI coaching firm here based in Hawaii. I've met with Angela through some other industry professionals and friends who had seen my AI presentation last year and said, wow, I think some more people would love to hear about some of this cool stuff that's going on. And I'd love to share with you, I'm on the 3.0 iteration of this presentation as the technology has been rapidly moving forward. A little bit of background on myself is I come from an IT background. I was a web page designer and database administrator out of college. Ended up going to Cornell University for HR and learning more about HR and fell in love with the HR process. Found that some of the most awesome people to work with were high-end home builders across North America. Really found a niche in the last 5-6 years in that space. And identified about 2 years ago that AI, particularly through ChatGPT, was coming and it was going to influence all of us. So I thought to myself, okay, I need to start learning these things. Went and did a little bit of training with an online course you can get for free from MIT, and working with some other guys I know in the construction industry, came up with the data that I'm going to share with you today. Undoubtedly, when we think about AI in our industry, people think about images like this one, where we've got robots and drones and all sorts of strange technologies now on our job site. And I'm pleased to tell you that the likelihood for this to happen in the short term is very low. We will not see this futuristic world of robots and drones on our job site anytime soon when it comes to residential construction. But what concerns me the most when I have these conversations with my construction clients is when I bring up the topic of AI, this is what comes to their mind. And what we think about is the doom and gloom that could come from AI, and that AI is coming to take our jobs, and perhaps even do more fearful things than that. And while it's really cool, and you'll note all of the images in this presentation were made by AI, while it's really, it's poignant to say that we do have to have these concerns on a global scale about AI, in the construction industry, we're well insulated. And I have to say that, AI is not a meaningful concern for us in this way quite yet. So why does AI matter for us? AI matters for us because it's going to help us do more stuff in less time. When we talk about the concept of artificial intelligence, it really breaks down into 4 key elements. The 4 elements of predictive analytics, machine learning, intelligent automation, and robotics. These are the 4 places that AI will come into our life. In residential construction, we'll see small inroads in the 1-year time frame. We'll see some meaningful inroads in the 3-year time frame, and we'll see some gravitational changes in the 5-year time frame. There are other industries that I work with that are seeing more gravitational change. But what we can expect is that with predictive analytics, you're going to be able to use a BARD, a ChatGPT, a text system, and say my estimates are wrong or my estimates are taking too long. Show me a way to do these things faster. And it'll be able to integrate with your software and show you how to do them faster. With machine learning, you'll be able to look at the data coming in real time from your production department. And a machine learning application will say, hey, you can save time and money by doing these things. On the back end of all of your processes, including your billing, your organizational, your estimation processes, AI is now coming up with the ability to say, oh, wow, end of month is coming. I got to get the AP and AR numbers ready for end of month. Imagine what that means for bookkeepers. Imagine if we had late notices and AI could come up and say, hey, I know you've had a hard time with payments over the last few months. We're willing to consider a payment plan, and you need to do no input. Automation is at that place in technology where it can offer you that. With my commercial clients, we're starting to see that robotics, including drone supervised job sites, is a reality. Some of the major production builders that I work with already have robotics on their job site. So AI is here, and it's going to continue to grow and interface in our industry. McKinsey and Company actually found 37 different ways in some research that they did over 2,400 construction firms that AI will integrate into the construction and marketplace immediately. So AI is here and it's now. In 37 different ways, construction companies could look at how does AI and how does having a technology-based strategy influence their company. So I love to say AI is not coming for your job, but someone who knows how to use AI is. Other builders out there who learn how to use AI will be able to respond more quickly to the market's changes, to clients' demands, to the uncertainty that happens on projects, because we're all in construction and change is the one true constant. So AI is not coming for our job, but somebody who knows how to use AI is. So how's it going to affect the industry in a real sort of way? Is we're going to start seeing machine learning. We're going to start seeing technology that says this could be done smoother, better, faster. And here's how. It's going to give you, in your estimation and in your production process, AI will predict how long things should take. And when they go over or under, how to navigate those estimations throughout the rest of your system. It's a fuzzy logic system where you can push a button and it does a lot of the math homework for you. I have seen clients now begin to use design software, and with the design software and AI now pairing with each other, there's more collaboration through the design process. So that as we go into the planning and as far as we get the designers, we get the production team involved, the feasibility part of the construction process all can be managed by AI as well. Place that I'm going to go much deeper later in the presentation, and a place that I lovingly think is my jam is ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT daily, not only for my business, but for personal exploits. It's helped me as an executive assistant. It's also helped me generate a lot of content for things like my web and my marketing tools. So I'm going to give you guys a live demonstration in a few minutes on how to use ChatGPT to influence your business. Last but not least, AI chatbots are here, and they're here to stay. I work with a client in Marietta, Georgia, and on his webpage, he has an AI chatbot named Sassy Sally. And she says, how y'all doing? My name's Sassy Sally, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have. And then you ask, well, I'd like to do a renovation on my kitchen and bathroom. And she goes, well, let me just pour you a nice sweet tea and we'll get started, darling. What's your budget and what you looking for? And 67% of the respondents have said that they actually prefer talking to AI. It's kind of like kids and their text messages rather than the phone calls. It's a non-invasive way to begin an interaction with somebody. And if you could imagine that you have a 4-page dissertation on a potential sale, what they like, what they don't like, what their budget is, what their feelings are like, AI gives you all of that through an AI chatbot. And astoundingly, AI chatbots are not expensive. I implemented one for a client at the cost of, I think, $3,000. So you can see that these are technologies that are ready and usable today. Here are a list of applications, software applications that I've researched that now have AI built into them. If you're using Autodesk on its building information modeling system does all of the planning and modeling through an AI module. Open Space, you could show up to job sites and have all of your documentation on Open Space. Your client can go in and see all the documentation that you set. I love Brick and Bolt. I won't bore you with all of these, but these are all different pieces of software that either I'm using or construction clients that I currently serve are using that use AI. So when people say to me, hey, Justin, how is AI going to influence the construction industry? I have to say to them, it already is. And it really is becoming the Wild West in the, that world of the quick and the dead. I would propose to each of you, there are softwares out there immediately. There's really exciting news as well for those of you who use Procore or Buildertrend. Procore and Buildertrend in the 2024 calendar have both stated they will become OpenAI AI solutions. So they are working right now on integrating AI into their systems. And you can imagine if you could go into Buildertrend and say, hey, having problem with the estimate, the numbers seem off, correct them, create the reporting and get it to me and these people. Here are our email addresses. Go. Think about the amount of time we would have and think about all the estimates we wouldn't have to suffer through. So I have all of these listed at the end. Please don't feel like you have to take notes now. I'm glad to share with anybody after today's presentation some applicability and feasibility on how to use AI in their business. So what does all of this mean? What are the insights that we can pull from using AI? The big concept that we see right now is BIM, or Building Information Modeling. And that you can go from pre-construction to construction in a building information modeling system, get some estimates, get some management software, and your software suite carries the heavy lifting of your project. For those of you on Buildertrend, you already know the power of cloud-based management software. Now imagine if that thing had like a Watson, like a guide in it that could give you AI suggestions and execute tasks for you. It's on the way. The other big concepts that you can think about are, how do we get analytics? How do we save time and money based on our planning? AI already has software applications to analyze your data and do a gap analysis and say, here's where we could be more successful. Here's where we are growing. Here are our SWOT analysis challenge points. Deeper than that, it also helps you build your team and helps you work with your team by reducing the complexity of job sites, by reducing the interrelativity of your team members, and making projects happen smoother and easier. In the simplest terms, AI, if used appropriately, can be the Staples easy button for all of the administrative, organizational, and numerical operations of your company. So we can also use AI as a recruiter. We always need to grow and build our teams. People in our industry move quite fluidly. AI allows you to build a far more smooth and streamlined recruiting system. The AI system that I use within my own recruiting business right now allows me to use AI to identify candidates as a 1-star to 5-star fit. And I've programmed that AI saying, I'm looking for a construction manager that has 5 years in the DC metro area. They need to understand renovation and they need to have worked on high-end homes. Please scan people based on these ratings. And then the AI goes, okay, I understood what you said, and now rates my candidates 1 to 5 stars for me. You can imagine the implications of that for what that means for the amount of time it buys back from me and my business. Not only that, but now I can make sure that the time I'm using is effective. Oftentimes for us business owners, recruiting and finding the right people is some of the most time-consumptive stuff that we have to deal with. Imagine if AI took a lot of that weight off of you. If you could also manage the metrics of your team to know who's succeeding and who's not succeeding by using some of the heads-up displays of their KPIs. AI can do that for you as well. A lot of clients say to me, I don't have the staff, I don't have the budget to have a full-time HR person. You no longer need to with the AI applications available. It can manage all of it for you, including your training programs. One of the things that I see on the teams who adapt AI more readily as well is that they can use AI to get more done more quickly, but they can also use AI so that they can focus on the human parts of the business. They can have more time to communicate with each other as the processes are happening more fluidly, which allows more interaction between team members. When team members interact, they're 76% more likely to retain in an organization if they meet with each other at least once a week. Project management can be done in a more smooth and reliable sort of way. As a business manager, getting relevant data from our organization and having that relevant data collated into a heads-up display. If you go look at Gartner, Wagner, Lattice, any of the major HR providers, their heads-up displays on your ROI are now all AI powered. And then lastly, you can work remotely. I am connected via cloud to several clients on the mainland, and I work here in Big Island, Hawaii. And I've allowed AI algorithms to do some of the homework for me. So at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time, when I'm still nicely nestled in bed, my AI applet is sending out the emails that I needed to send out. And I've programmed it to do so. So all this is really about buying back your time and finding an easier way to do stuff. And AI not being that Terminator who's coming to get us, but being this opportunity that you can seize. As I said at the beginning of the presentation, one of the things I love the most is ChatGPT. I've been using ChatGPT for over 2 years now in my business, and it really allows me to do more with less. For those of you who haven't used ChatGPT before, ChatGPT is an online AI tool that uses GPT technology, which GPT is generative pre-transformer. What it means is that if I put an input in and I program that input, it will put me an output based on that data and the research that it can do. Why would I want to use a ChatGPT? Well, don't get me started. That's 3 hours and that's a long conversation. There's a billion reasons why you'd want to use ChatGPT to make your life easier. But why I use it is it helps me manage my time and my clients' time far more readily. Every email that you need to send out, every to-do you need to send out, you can put it through ChatGPT. It will compose the documentation that you need. I actually told ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, I need some images for this awesome presentation that I'm building together. And I gave it my slides. In each one of the slides that you've seen so far today, GPT has generated these images by seeing the content that I had created. Admittedly, it doesn't hit a bullseye every single time, but it gets me to that 80% done so much more quickly and so much more readily. So many places where creatively it would have taken me longer to get started, ChatGPT has brought back that creative inspiration by providing me the outline that I can then go back in and embellish. So these are the things that I see, is that it helps us work with our clients better. It helps us work with our team better. It gives me the ability to get more information in less time. We thought it was awesome when Google came out and we could Google stuff. Now think about if we could put in the uniqueness of your organization into Google. And that's what ChatGPT can do for you. I asked ChatGPT all sorts of questions about science, about law, about documentation. When I brought my documentation to my lawyer, it was like, I don't know what you need me for. And I was like, kind of, I know, right? Like it did all of the work and it did it right. So I think in general, ChatGPT is going to make your life easier as far as being able to do more with less, hiring more people on your team with less overwhelm, and managing your existing team with data-driven results. So we're going to dive into the real stuff here. And I know this is a lot of data in a short period of time, so thank you. What I've come to find with ChatGPT is that you can just talk to it and it will give you back results. But a lot of the users that I've been working with who communicate with ChatGPT say, it's kind of nice, it's kind of whimsical, but it doesn't really give me the results I'm looking for. It's not always factual. Sometimes it goes off on its own tangent. And I jokingly say to them, I'm so glad that AI is not that smart yet. We get to continue to exist. Wink, wink. What I've come to find is that ChatGPT, like any other programming language, has some parameters. And the parameters are called the prompt frameworks. You can literally open up an iteration of ChatGPT and just say, what is a prompt framework? And it gives you some nice examples of what a prompt framework might be. The prompt frameworks that I use in my business and when I'm consulting with my clients are the RTF, TAG, BAB, CARE, and RISE. Each one of these has a different application, and I'm going to show you in a live demonstration what some of those applications are. But a lot of my clients say to me, Justin, I tried that ChatGPT thing. I asked it a few questions and it gave me back a bunch of junk. And I said, did you just talk to it or did you program it? And they go, well, I just talked to it. You're supposed to just talk to it. And that's what I've come to really find is that I get different results when I just talk to it or when I program it. So I'll show you into my ChatGPT. And I'll show you first kind of what I did to get there. And then I'll give you a live demonstration of ChatGPT at work. I asked ChatGPT, what are GPT frameworks? It gave me some of the rules that it has to follow when it creates a prompt framework. So then I asked it, what's an example of an RTF, a role task format framework? And it gave me this one about a renowned chef at Italian cuisine. I was really hungry at the time, so I had to go eat some tortellini right after. You know how it goes. But I then asked it, well, fine, give me some residential construction relative prompts. And using that RTF, it said, you're an experienced architect. That's the role. You're building a sustainable home design. I need you to plan an eco-friendly house. That's the task. And then I need you to follow up. And the follow-up is give me the most effective building materials and design principles to sustain a minimum environmental impact. I asked him similar roles on plumbing and interior design. And you can see how these questions each put it into a different persona. And the persona that ChatGPT operates in designates and delineates the results that it provides for you. And I found if I had just said these exact same questions under a different literary structure, it gives me a totally different result. So this is why I use this RTF format when I know it needs to be something. I'll go in and say, as a residential design professional, write me a proposal to a client that's looking for an innovative design in their bathroom that wants to do things at least a $60,000 to $90,000 renovation cost. Write the proposal, and then it will write that proposal for me. Other examples is the CARE prompt is content, action, result, example. So I gave it the rules. It needs to give me a specific topic, an action, a result that it needs, and an example. So I said, for an eco-friendly building materials, in the context of eco-friendly residential construction, aiming for LEED certification, recommend a list of sustainable building materials and explain their environmental benefits. Imagine if you could ask that question of ChatGPT and provide that in a meaningful email to your clients and your coworkers. The inspiration that your clients would feel like, wow, this person's on top of this stuff. And the quickness, the responsiveness with which you can reply is also astounding to a lot of clients as well. So you can begin to see some of these implications on a global level on how ChatGPT allows you to do more with less. I haven't had to hire an executive assistant because ChatGPT is my executive assistant. Another example is the tag prompt, where I've asked it to choose energy efficient windows, evaluate and recommend them, and then enhance the home's efficiency costs with these prompts. And then what I did is I went back and said, well, let's make a live presentation of that. And let me show you what this did. I said, I first told ChatGPT, don't joke around, be precise. And it's important that you tell ChatGPT when you're looking for precision, otherwise it'll tell you a tall tale. So I told it directly, you're an electrician, you have expertise in technology. I need you to update my smart home. What do I need to look out for? What do I recommend to a client who wants to build a smart home? And I'm not going to say that it's the dissertation on the best things ever, but thermostats, lighting, the monitors, the smart plugs, doorbells. I didn't even know they had smart smoke and carbon monoxide detectors out yet. So it gave me all of these recommendations of all of these different things, including voice assistants and smart blinds. I could literally take this and bring it into a proposal. And in seconds, I've accelerated, my connectivity with my client and the execution of my project. I asked it to look at some other frameworks and said, if I have a 500 square foot apartment and I need some innovative interior design strategies, come up with some. And it's telling me multifunctional furniture and mirrors and light palettes and surfaces, lighting. Again, if I already have a great designer, I don't need all of this. But if I don't have a great designer, or if I need something to keep the machine running, think about the applicability of being able to ask GPT something that you don't have expertise in, and at least get the ball rolling, at least get the conversation going so you can begin your journey. So then I asked it to exhibit one of the last frameworks here. And in this framework, I asked it to look at heating costs on windows. And it gave me a dissertation about Windows that I didn't even know. Again, a trained expert probably knows about gas-filled and low-E coatings, but I sure didn't. And now I've got a level of expertise on something that I would have never dreamed of. So you can imagine how knowing the right script to put into GPT and get this level of knowledge in a split second is really valuable. So I thought what we would do is the most complicated of the scripts to use is called the RISE script. So I'm going to go into ChatGPT right here, right now, and ask it to display how do we use the RISE framework. I'm going to push go. And you can see one of the things that's most amazing is how quickly ChatGPT is able to respond. So it's literally going through the RISE input, looking at the last piece of input, giving me the role, the input in the steps phase right now. And I imagine here in a moment, it's going to move to the E, the expectations. So you can see the amount of data it quickly and easily came up with after one input. What I recommend to my clients and what I would recommend to you is that as you've seen today, the chat part of ChatGPT is it's iterative. I don't just put one input in and get one output back and I'm done. I have a chat with it. And by chatting back and forth, I can really manipulate the results that come out of ChatGPT. So for those of you who have never used ChatGPT before, I'd love to show you some ways you can create your own unique prompt frameworks and get more out of it. For those of you that are already using ChatGPT and saying, yeah, sometimes it's good and sometimes it gives me sporadic results, I'd love to meet with you and show you how I can navigate through prompt frameworks to get you the results that you're looking for. I hope that you can see in the short time that we've had so far today on how ChatGPT can help you buy back your time and can really help you do more with less by using AI in your business. I'll switch back to my presentation now.
Justin,
And yes.
quick question. In the chat, Lee asked, do you recommend paying for ChatGPT 4 over the free version? And I guess, what are some of the differences between the paid and free versions that might help them make their decision?
That's a great question. And thank you, Lee. ChatGPT is now upgraded that the free version is 3.5. 3.5 is great if you're just looking to do a limited amount of textual input. The real bandwidth that you have is that GPT-3 and 3.5, you really do mandatorily need to follow some sort of prompt framework. It doesn't have the savvy to kind of read between the lines. The paid version, GPT-4, is getting a lot better at that, where you can literally just speak to it. It analyzes the intention, not just the words of its programming, and can read between those lines a little better. It's not perfect, but it's better. The other major difference on GPT-4 is GPT is owned by a company named OpenAI. And OpenAI owns another piece of AI technology called DALL-E, DALL-E. And that's their imaging software. Up until now, you could go into DALL-E and say, I need a picture of something generated. You could go into ChatGPT and say, I need textual input created. In GPT-4, DALL-E and ChatGPT now talk to each other. I could say, I'd like to create a marketing calendar for Q2 for my business, create the textual marketing calendar and the visual elements necessary, images, graphics, and charting for said promotion. And GPT-4 has the ability to create both the textual input and the visual input. This is one of the big new changes in GPT-4. One of the humongous changes in GPT-4 as well, and this one's really for the computer geeks out there, is you can have it write code. I have ChatGPT writing HTML code to edit my web page, and I have it writing Python code to go in and actually write computer software. So clients are coming to me and saying, hey, I wish my estimation software could do this. And me saying, well, why can't it? And going and being a geek and going into the code and rewriting the code and sending them code. Those are the implications that GPT-4 could offer you. I am a user of GPT-4 and I am a premium paid user because of how pervasively I use it in my life. Those are the considerations that I would make. If I'm using it as kind of a supportive tool to ask it a few questions once or twice a day, the free version is just fine. If I'm using it daily and it becomes more foundational, the paid version almost becomes a necessity, because when there are high bandwidth periods, you'll get a lower level of access if you're not on the paid service. So again, if there's anyone who's interested in looking at GPT or using GPT, I would be honored to kind of, the offer I have for everyone who's here today is I'll meet with you for up to 30 minutes on Zoom, listen to kind of your thoughts and interests on how you'd want to use AI in your business, and give you a prospectus how AI and Chat GPT can help you buy back your time and help you do more within your organization. I see that Matthew's asking a great question here as well. Can GPT handle the estimating as long as it knows the materials needing, and will it find the best pricing? That's actually in the works as we speak. Chat GPT by itself can't do that. But Matt, if you reach out to me personally, on the back end of Chat GPT is called the Open AI Playground. And many of the pieces of software that we were discussing are now operating on the Open AI Playground. I could share with you how you are able to not only estimate, but then find the appropriate materials. So yes, all of those tools and implications are there. I think that, the biggest takeaways that I've pulled from using AI and GPT in my work life is that it makes me more efficient. It allows me from the beginning stage of working with clients, from the planning stage, all the way to execution and completion, to have as much analytics, much data rolling, and as quickly as possible have it provided. That allows me to manage my clients, manage my team better, because I get data in, and in real time, it analyzes that data for me. It helps me work with my coworkers better, because I'm able to communicate with them and share with them more real time. I'm not always able to get that email back right on time, or share the document, or create the document, but I can ask ChatGPT to help me create that document. And what was going to be a 2-hour process that I get to them the next morning is a 15-minute process that I can get to them by the end of the day. The biggest thing that I would share with everyone on the call today is that I would not recommend that you leap in and gravitationally use AI. What I would recommend is a more regimented approach, where we take small and decided steps and identify, how do we use ChatGPT to help us on pre-construction? How do we use other AI technologies, whether they're the new scanning technologies that help us render a home, or whether they're the ways that PlanSwift or that BIM and Oracle are working? How do we use our technology? Perhaps even maybe there's somebody on your team who's in a management or a director level position, and another subtitle is Director of AI, and they'll help you build an AI policy. But taking it step by step and choosing an element by element in your business to incorporate with AI gets you ahead of the curve. As I had prefaced at the beginning of today's presentation, what I'm seeing on the horizon is that AI will not meaningfully influence the residential construction workspace in the next 365 days. It will in the next 3 years. And in 5 years, it will become an intrinsic part of the residential construction industry. So with those things in mind, I think it's very important for each organization to identify, what does this mean to us, and how do we apply those concepts? I would be honored to meet with each and every one of you on how you're currently using AI, currently composing that you might use AI, or supposing you could use AI, and help you build your 2024 AI strategy. I'd be honored in that 30-minute call as well to give you a small prompt library so you can use some library tools and really get some good results. One of the things that I've found is, on the paid version, you get a really nice saved list of all of the chats that you've created. And that list of chats to me has just been a godsend as far as my ability to generate information for me and for my clients. It's been great to have that library of tools. So yeah, I would definitely love to share more with each and every one of you on how this can apply. directly to your organization. If there are any other questions or any thoughts on the presentation, I'd love to open it up now to the audience. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Justin. So I am going to just see if a little wait time here. Anyone have questions? If you prefer using the chat, we can read them from there, or you can just shout them out. The other thing I'd like to know, are you currently using AI? And if so, in what capacity has it been helpful in your business, saving you some time?
I'd love to hear more how people are currently using AI or experiences you might have had with AI that either interested you or disinterested you.
Justin,
I'm
sorry.
using. Sorry, is there someone?
Sorry. We have too many people talking now.
Anna, you go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Hi. I'm using Bard. Do you have any thoughts about the difference or the capability between that and the original ChatGPT?
They're both generative pre-transformer technologies. So the basic rules on how to script or prompt in Bard and GPT are nearly identical. I would say that if you're comfortable using Bard, one of the things I like about Bard is its extensibility in Bing. GPT-4 is now including Bing searchability, but Bard just kind of does it smoother and better. So if you're looking at it as a research or an archival tool, Bard does offer some benefit there. A lot of the more innovative stuff that's happening right now in GPT technology is happening through the edifice of OpenAI, the owner of ChatGPT. So if you're on the more experimental side or trying to play with it more underneath the hood, there could be some benefit to using ChatGPT on the OpenAI playground. But on a no, if you're using Bard, you can take the script libraries that I would love to offer you in that 30-minute meeting and put them right into Bard and get the same quality of result.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And just to chain off of that, I think what we're going to start to see is that so many softwares and organizations that we already work with integrate with AI. There are rumors that the next iteration of the iPhone will have not only an AI, but also an AI detector.
And then just for everybody, I am using it for my marketing and writing a lot of prompts, wherever it's from social media. Actually, I used it to write my marketing plan for the year. And I can't wait for Gemini to come up. So I'm trying to get myself signed up.
Awesome. I did the exact same thing for my business this year as well and said, hey, looking at this year, looking at this data from Gartner, looking at this data from McKinsey and Company, what is the prospectus? What should I do? How do I calendar my year out? And it's not the Rosetta Stone. It hasn't answered all of my problems, but I now have a spotlight. I'm not driving this street alone anymore. Right. Do you feel the same way, Anna?
Yeah, no, it really has been helpful. Like I hate writing prompts for social media. I actually never had a marketing plan for the whole year. And really it took me 2 hours to put a plan for literally a whole year. So yeah, big fan.
I use an automated piece of software as well called Hootsuite. And Hootsuite has that feature where I can build my calendar and push automate, which is in a light version of AI in and of itself. So I went into ChatGPT, said, make my marketing contents, put them into another automated tool. And like yourself, and in one evening, my marketing is prepared for the remainder of the calendar year.
Yep.
It looks like Libby from Tart Lumber is doing the same thing for marketing. I know Kate with Pro has been meeting with or wants to meet with Justin to kind of look at how we can utilize that. Eric from Blue Star had the question, what are some pitfalls we should be on the lookout for? And you might want him to elaborate on that a little bit if you need it.
Eric, that's a great question. I think the most important thing to consider about GPT technology is it's kind of like giving a high school valedictorian the world's repository of information. It's really smart, but it's not always factual. And if you ask it something, particularly something risque, it can go on its own unique tangents. And there's a term in the world of AI called AI hallucination. What AI hallucination is not partying at a Grateful Dead concert. It's the concept that when you give too much input to an AI model, it doesn't know which pieces of the text to respond to. So I have seen clients that they show me their GPT chat or their Bard chat, and it's like 3 pages long. It's longer than the Columbia River. And I'm like, well, no wonder GPT doesn't know or Bard doesn't know what to do. So some of the conventions that I teach to my clients are keep it short and sweet. And GPT loves colons and periods. Periods when you're stopping and colons when you're instructing. So at the end of a statement, if you're telling it to do something, put a colon on the end. If you're done, put a period. If you've written more than 3 sentences, you might have gone too far. These are some of the conventions to think about when you use ChatGPT. I think people think it's like Hal from Space Odyssey, and there's like this capable mind there thinking about things. And in some ways, I'm sad that there isn't, and in some ways, I'm really glad that there isn't. This disembodied mind in space thinking of those things. Those are the pitfalls that I find. Like I had when I started my business, I asked it, hey, what are the legal considerations I need to look out for? When I build my paperwork, what do I need to put on my paperwork to make me a Hawaii compliant business? But the next thing I did is email that all over to my attorney and say, is it right or not? And he was like, yeah, it's mostly right. We can fix that and we'll fix that, but otherwise you're good. It did 8/10 of the work, but I wouldn't have just posted it. So those are the things that I would consider is that when it comes to design, when it comes to writing, when it comes to marketing, I mean, I like writing, but I don't like writing 18 billion pages all day long. Once I get past paragraph 3 or 4, I'm like, can you do something for me here? And I'm sure many of you feel the same way. And I know you do. So, I think that's the intention for me is I find that ChatGPT is a hyper accelerator, but it's not always going to be the expert. And that's one of the things that one of the individuals who taught me GPT said to me is never speak to GPT about something you don't have some level of knowledge about, because it's a better BSer than you are. So those are the thoughts, Eric, that I would consider and some of the pitfalls that I would look out for. It's also precisely why following those strict prompt guidelines that I had shared earlier prevents less of that happens. So again, each person is going to have an individual case use on how these technologies will work for them. I'd be glad to meet with each and every one of you on how that would work.
Mhm.
Anyone else has any other questions?
There was another presentation that I saw earlier in the year that was talking about like all the human resources, and you touched on that with kind of helping to get through some of the applicants and things like that, finding out maybe more about them upfront, just like you might with a chat bot with your clients. This was Mark Harari with Remodeler's Advantage, and he was saying they used it for a human resource issue where someone had violated one of their things in their policy manual. They input their policy manual and asked ChatGPT to write a letter. It came back a little too informal, so they asked it again to like go back and make it a little more, have a little more teeth. Thought that was interesting. Of course, I haven't needed that because I don't have human resources issues at Pro.
Let's do this.
Mhm. As a human resources expert, please write
Please
me.
write me a letter for an employee who has attendance issues. Thank God for spell checker.
Mm-hmm.
And then ChatGPT will get me started. And I just love the speed with which it responds to you. But observe that your attendance record doesn't meet an employment agreement and your attendance policy over the X period of time. You've been we need you to follow our policy. If not, please reach out with HR so we can talk about these changes. Thank you very much.
Hmm.
I could go in after this and say, hey, here are the nuances that I need. You know what? It's not just an attendance policy. You smell a little bit too much like peppermint schnapps. Or hey, you know what? Your performance has been influenced by your attendance. And you can go in and edit those things. So you can imagine that not just with one, that was what, 15 seconds?
Right.
So in 1 or 2 minutes, we could literally sit here and kind of go back and forth with those sorts of things. I mean, you just have to make sure you put all the right data in. As I see Mara's in chat saying, this thing's great, for freedom of information requests, permits, you want to review them, but it gets you 80% of the way there. That's how I've been using ChatGPT and Bard technology as well, is I don't know where to start. Get me started. And then with my knowledge and expertise, I can finish it off from there. So in a lot of ways, it's like an executive assistant in your computer.
And Libby from Tart asked, she's looking for good images. She's currently using Canva,
Huh?
but you had mentioned just using Chat GPT to find great images, right? So you could let it do it for you?
Create a thank you image for a HR presentation. Because I'm using the GPT-4 model, as you can see in the corner there,
Mm-hmm.
it realizes what I'm asking it to do, and it goes into image generation mode.
Okay.
So now taking that text and taking the now billions of input responses and creating me a thank you for my presentation. So you can imagine in the individual case uses on how you could imply that. And back to Anna's question about Bard versus GPT, that's the only thing I think GPT does meaningfully better than Bard, is that ability to go from visual to image and back and forth. I personally believe GPT does it better. That is my anecdotal data. That's not empirical. Yeah, but that's how I use GPT regularly. And each and every one of the images from my presentation today was created in that method. I talked with GPT and said, hey, if you want to use this, you can. And, Dolly is, thank you, Mara. Dolly is a standalone piece of software. You can go online if you don't want to pay for ChatGPT's premium version. You can pull your output from ChatGPT into the other window of Dolly and operate it and then back and forth. The easy button is yes to integrate the two, but it's not necessary. So
Thanks.
yeah,
Very good.
that is how I've been using it. And I think there are going to be in 2024 more and more organizations that apply this technology to their platforms. As Mara is saying, Canva has one. We're going to see all of the major players in the next year. If you're a software provider, I mean, you're going to be using it. I think the company I'd be the most scared for in the next 365 days is Matterport. Because my cell phone can now do everything that Matterport can do for not $5,000. Like everything.
And Canvas, our national sponsor, your iOS device can use their free software.
Yes.
One of the things I was going to mention, recently I've seen more and more people in meetings with Fathom or Otter or some of the AI options to help record meeting information and just summarize. And I was really impressed with some of the summaries I'm seeing. I just thought it would transcribe it, which it does, but then it
Right.
can also organize it for you and put it in abbreviated context. So if you're
Yes.
having, it would be a great way to check up on salespeople and see how they're integrating with your clients and things like that, or, just record meetings for your own personal use. So you know what to follow up on after the meeting, et cetera.
I've come to find that the two that you mentioned, Fathom and Otter, are probably the two that I would consider industry leading right now. I use Otter because I love the staple easy button anywhere I can include it in my life. And for me, the Otter AI feature to give me a summary after each meeting, grab that summary, put it into an email and go, hey, client, here's what we talked about today. Can't wait to see you next week. Go. Like that's worth all the Starbucks coffee in the world. And man, I like Starbucks coffee. So that for me has been a humongous godsend in buying back my time. As I buy back my time, I enjoy what I do more often. Onto that concept of human resources, which is what I do for a living. That's really what human resources is about, is taking the shared vision out of your mind and imparting it out to your brothers and sisters in your workforce. And that's how I intend to use artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is going to allow us to be more human. What do I mean about that? There's going to come a day relatively soon when we hit the GPT-5. It's going to generate this thing called AGI. And when AGI happens, that's artificial general intelligence. That's when AI doesn't need programmers anymore. It starts writing itself its own code. And that's where we go back to those first two slides of houses building themselves and the Terminator. So when we get to AGI, what many of the technologists that I'm geeking out on right now are saying is this is an opportunity to go one of two ways, opportunity or crisis. Crisis is all the scary stuff that we're talking about, and let's work together to make that not happen. On the opposing side, opportunity, it's an opportunity to be able to be more connected to each other, an opportunity to be able to connect with each other on a more real level. Think about all of the stuff we have to do to keep our company running. Think about if AI could do all of that stuff, all of the fun interactions you could have, all of the wine parties you could go out and meet clients at, all the other things you could do with your team to inspire and empower your team. But right now you can't because of the 18 billion things you need to do or your company won't make it. This is also the way that I'm using AI within my company to buy back my time and grow my company more quickly. So these are the kind of individual case uses that I think we're going to see in the next few years. And you guys all have a super benefit. Residential construction is about relationships. And the relationships that you've built with your clients are deep and meaningful. You've reconstructed or built their homes, one of the most important things to their life. You're now a trusted advisor to them. And if you can be a trusted advisor and move in a nimble, technologically savvy sort of way, this deepens your relationship to them, with them, reduces resistance from them, and you really get that rapport with people that I think we're looking for in all instances of our life. So whereas there are these concerns that I see as a technologist about AI coming in and its irresponsible use, and gosh, what are humans better at than irresponsibly using technology? Look at the 20th century. But on the hopeful side, I see all the opportunities, and for us as an organization and as a society to use it to buy back our time. I mentioned I'm in Hawaii. I would love it for all of us to be able to hang out and drink a Mai Tai. If we have to do all of the things that we have to do, maybe we can't. But if we have AI doing it, my dream of us having our next presentation on the beaches of Honolulu with Mai Tais in hand become more real. So, yes. You'll find I bring the Mai Tais thing up quite often if you start to work with me.
All right. Any other questions? We have about 5 minutes left. I just want to make sure if you have a question, need answers, let us know. We'll be posting the webinar, and you see Justin's information there. Of course, you're always welcome to connect with me and I can connect you. And if there's other educational topics that you're interested in, please shoot me or Debbie or Mara an email and let us know, and we can get those scheduled. Our goal is just to help kind of meet some of your needs and help you run your businesses more effectively.
Thank you. And I didn't talk a lot today about human resources. I really wanted the focus today to be about AI, but I am, an AI Cornell grad HR professional as well. So if you have an HR question and you'd like an answer to those as well, let me know. I see some friends in chat that have worked with me on an HR basis before. So, hey guys, how you doing? I'd be honored to answer HR questions if you got any HR questions as well.
All right. Well, I appreciate everyone's time today. And I look forward to seeing you at an upcoming pro event. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And Justin, thank you very much.
Oh, great
Thank
honor.
you very much.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Justin.
Good to see you.
Great to see you, Daniel.